What's up, guys? No Misses here. Today we'll be talking about how the Clippers are just putting it all together so far this season. So before we get into that, make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, and make sure to comment. If you do any of those, helps the channel grow. Thank you. So the Clippers are actually looking like the Clippers the media predicted last year. I mean, this team currently has the best offensive rating in the league. They're currently a mid-tier defensive team right now, but I can see that increase just because they have Paul George, Serge Ibaka, um, Kawhi Leonard. They just have a really good defensive players, and Patrick Beverly. So those are all defensive players that I could rely on and see them being a top tier defensive team. Um, I mean, I think what happened right there, last year is that Doc Rivers didn't really coach them right. Paul George did say that they would have like practices where they don't really do anything or work on game plan. So yeah, and I think they didn't really buy into the system. And this year, it seems like the Clippers players are buying into the system. I mean, you got Tyronn Lue, and I think he's been doing a decent job this year, um, with this team, and he doesn't seem to be really playing around, as I would say. They were really Doc Rivers last year, and the Clippers were kind of really just coasting into the playoffs, and they didn't really take it seriously, and that's how they got beat. So yeah, um, I mean, this team is built around Kawhi and Paul George. Nothing surprising about that. Kawhi's having his Kawhi typical year: 24 points per game, three assists, couple rebounds. So on really good shooting splits, being a above average defender. I mean, defensively, he's not really focusing on that anymore, and he's kind of regressed defensively. But but he's still one of the best. And Paul George seems to be having a redemption tour from the playoffs. Dude is putting up 25 points per game and has an increased role in the playmaking department with a career high of 55 assists and a true shooting percentage of 68, which leads the team. And I mean, they have a really good supporting cast. They have Serge Ibaka, Lou Williams, Marcus Morris, Zubac, Luke Kennard, Nicholas Batum, who's having a good year, good free agent pickup, and Patrick Beverly. I mean, they have and Terrence Mann. They have very good depth, but what do they lack in? I mean, they lack in a lot of defensive parts and everything. So, well, not defensive parts, playmaking. Well, you have Paul George kind of being the distributor. That's not his main role. At the end of the day, he is a pure, 3 and D shooter, and he's better off ball than I would say on ball. Dude has good playmaking. Dude, puts out good playmaking, but what happens when they get traps? They do traps on him during the playoffs and actually lock down on their players, like with the Lakers. Will Paul George be able to make those big passes? I don't think so. So I'd say that's their weakest spot. I think they got Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard as a backup or starter to replace Lou Williams. I could see Lou Williams kind of being kicked out of the Clippers, or not kicked out but traded, and I feel like they could acquire a better playmaker. I have a trade. I think that could work, or that does work, but they'd have to. You just swap. It's a straight swap with Tyus Jones and Lou Williams, and you add in a second round pick. Both of their salaries are $8 million. I think. I think Tyus Jones is a little bit expensive, a little bit more expensive, but yeah. Um. Also, another weakness is can Marcus Morris play within this offense, or will he just stop the offensive flow to get his shots up? I mean, he's looked okay this year. He's kind of been running with the second unit. So yeah. Also, Nicholas Batum is having a good 3 and D year. With the Charlotte Hornets, there's just too much on his plate, and I think now that he's in a reduced role and he's playing reduced minutes, he's able to be a good role player and everything. they might be together. This team is a scary team, if on paper, but will it all click together? That's every team in the league right now. Defensively, I know they're mid tier, but I can see them getting increased just because of the sheer talent. You got Patrick Beverly. Also, if you could get Patrick Beverly on in your second unit, that's really good. And their biggest weakness is a point guard or a playmaker or facilitator. I don't know. A playmaker. Because Luke Kennard is a scorer. Lou Williams is a scorer. Patrick Beverly is a small DN3 player. Serge Ibaka is someone who you strictly got to defend AD. I mean, it's all about matchups in the playoffs, and there's a reason why Montrezl Harrell didn't do in the playoffs because he just wasn't built enough. So they replaced him with Serge, who I think is a better player, and I think he has a better matchup against AD and other bigs like Jokic and that, and he can also spread the floor, which Harold really can't do. But yeah, so I can see this team might be getting it together, but we just don't know. The Clippers are just in a limbo of, yeah, they're a really good regular season team, but are they a good mid-season? Are they a good playoffs team? Are they a good late season team? You just don't know because you never know when playoff P might go 2 for 10 or 2 for 15 and might hit the back of the backboard. I feel like Kawhi is gonna be Kawhi, but you don't know if that second player, and if Kawhi doesn't think if Paul George could be the number 2 option, then Kawhi could be gone, and then it's just Paul George by himself, and that sucks. But I doubt this big 2 is gonna go because Kawhi's from LA, and the whole point of him requesting a trade from San Antonio is to get back home, and he wanted to be back home. So yeah, all right. So make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys like. No misses out. Peace.